So we got a lot of recent news on what to expect for the DCU, mostly about the Batman, but also the Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and some other properties of DC. First, I want to start by talking about the Flash. So I talked about in my last DC news video how Ezra Miller was caught on video choking a fan and how he may now no longer play Barry Allen in the Flash solo movie. Well, as of right now, it looks like Warner Brother Media has made no decision what they're going to do with him and whether they're going to continue on with Ezra as the Flash. Honestly, it would be very easy to write him out of the DC cinematic universe. So one script they had for the Flash solo movie, no idea if they're going forward with this, was that Barry was going to use the Speed Force to try to save his mom, something we've seen him do before in television and in the comics quite a few fucking times. So, by going through the Speed Force, he could alter reality and make it so that he is a different person completely. In fact, the script, or one of the scripts they were going to use for the Flash solo movie, again, not sure if they're going with this, would actually serve as a little mini reboot for the DC cinematic universe. So after Barry tries to use the Speed Force to rescue his mom, he comes back to present time, and all of a sudden the events of Man of Steel, the events of the Justice League, the events of Batman versus Superman never happened. In this script, instead, the Batman, played by Robert Pattinson, would take the place of Ben Affleck's Batman. Also, Aquaman and Wonder Woman would remain untouched, which I think is a really good thing because those are two solo movies that have done very well. And if you're curious, it's believed Reverse Flash will be in the Flash solo movie regardless, which makes sense, and we will have Mirror Master as one of the villains, although she may be played as a woman. That was in one script. I don't know if that has carried over. I don't mind the Mirror Master being a woman, that's whatever. The Reverse Flash being a woman, I'm not trying to be sexist whatsoever, I just don't think it works, and it really messes up the relationship between Barry and the Reverse Flash. I think they need to keep him being a man. If they are going to use the Flash solo movie to kind of soft reboot the DC cinematic universe, it does make a lot of sense. I feel like anyone that is a fan of DC Comics or a fan of the Flash would see a movie where he uses the Speed Force and does some time shenanigans and then comes back and things are changed in the present. They'd be like, oh, okay. Just normal Flash stuff. I don't think there would be a lot of complaints. I feel like the most complaints would come from people that aren't really deep into the comics and they'd go, what the fuck? So I don't know, that's just the Flash news. I want to move on to the Batman news with Robert Pattinson because the director, Matt Reeves, talked quite a bit about the film and he has me really hopeful so far on it. I know I shouldn't get my hopes up, but I'm going to because I'm a sucker. So Matt Reeves talked about how Robert Pattinson's Batman isn't fully formed, and here is the full quote on that. I just felt like, well, what I'd love to do is get a version of this Batman character where he's not yet fully formed, where there's something to do in this context with who that guy would be in this world today, and to ground him in all these broken ways. Because at the end of the day, this guy is doing all this to deal with trauma in his past. Which, I'm not going to get too much into psychology in this video, but I do have some psychology videos I can release on Batman. I did interviews with psychologists about him, so I'm really liking Matt Reeves' take on Batman and this traumatic, just damaged man and him going forward without making it super emo, slit my wrists, gritty dark. You know, there needs to be a good combination. Matt Reeves also talked about making Batman distinctive because the best ones are that way. He said, I thought, well, there's been some terrific Batman movies, and I don't want to be part of a long line of Batman movies where this is just another one. I feel like they've been really distinctive. The best ones have been incredible. He really likes Batman Returns. He loved Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, and he loved Tim Burton's style in general. Whether you think that's a good thing or not, I guess is going to depend on the person, but I do like the idea of this being distinctive, this being, in case you don't know, by the way, it's going to be a mystery detective noir type film, and I'm on board. I'm also a Batman fanatic. I know most of you that have been on this channel for long enough know that Batman is kind of my kink. Matt Reeves also said that it took him 2 years to write the script with his partner for the Batman, and that they had only gotten through filming a quarter of the film before the virus forced them to shut down, so hopefully by the end of this year they can go back to shooting the film. Alright, let's move on to Wonder Woman 1984, the film coming out this year, and they released some new stills. Wonder Woman versus Cheetah, Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor against Maxwell Lord, played by Pedro Pascal, and her new suit I love so much. Oh, and look at Steve and Diana dancing. Definitely not gonna cry, except I'm going to. Gail talked a bit about Wonder Woman, her first solo movie, and going into this one, so I want to read that quote really quick. The first movie was a coming of age. It was Diana becoming Wonder Woman. She was very naive and she didn't understand the complexities of life. A fish out of water. In this movie, that's not the case whatsoever. Diana has evolved. She's much more mature and very wise. However, she's very lonely. She's lost all of her team members and she's guarded. And then something crazy happens. Yeah, the crazy thing happening is Steve Trevor's comes back. Which, by the way, Chris Pine coming back to play Steve is just because they thought he was one of the main reasons why the first solo movie succeeded with Wonder Woman, and they all just loved working with him. So they were like, hey, comic book movie, you think being dead stops a character from returning? You haven't watched enough comic book movies or read enough comics. It gets pretty absurd. I do have a lot of faith that this Wonder Woman sequel will do very well and that it's very well thought out. I think recently DC has been going in the right direction and realizing we just don't need gritty, again, emo, slit our wrists. It's okay to have a little bit of color and fun without being too crazy. Ooh, speaking of color and fun, James Gunn said the Suicide Squad will not be delayed because they were fortunate enough to wrap shooting and they set up editing from their homes before the quarantine went into full effect. And God, can I not wait to see live-action King Shark. Black Adam is still on track as well for December 22nd, 2021, so don't be worried about that. Lastly, not in movie news, but there's a new Stargirl Justice Society of America trailer, and it just looks like hot garbage. It looks so bad. I also don't think I'm the target demographic for it, so maybe that's why I think it looks like hot garbage. You can go watch it and tell me if you think it's a lot better or why it's going to be an awesome series. I just probably will not spend any time watching it. Maybe I'll watch the premiere episode, and that's about it. I learned my lesson with the Arrowverse on CW to not waste my time on every single comic book related show, because sometimes you get really let down.